So I think at this point we can all agree. The US and Israel are two of the most evil empires in history, right? Any time period. But I don't think anything shows it as well as the average UN map anytime there is a vote for a policy that is objectively good. Like the whole world will come together and agree that, hey, this is a good policy. We should pass it. Literally the whole world. And then here's the United States and Israel and in recent years, Argentina for some reason. I mean, we did give them $40 billion, so I guess that's a pretty good reason to glaze us. We'll just vote against it, bro. Like the vote could be puppies for everyone, like you see here. And the whole world's like, hey, puppies for everyone. That sounds like a lot of happiness, a lot of joy. And America and Israel gotta show up and be like, no. We don't want good things to happen. Fuck good things. We only want bad things. Only bad things can happen under our watch. I think the most notorious example of this was when the UN voted to make food a human right in 2021. And the whole world thought, you know what? That sounds pretty good, right? If everybody can eat in a post-scarcity society in which many developed nations and Western nations are throwing away a good percentage of their food, then yeah, we should make it a right. We can clearly feed everyone on the planet. So yeah, and here's the United States and Israel showing up and saying, you know what? I don't want everyone to eat though. Israel showed up like, but I want to starve the people in Gaza though. So why should I make it? If we make food a human right, then we actually have to feed Palestinians? Hell no. And then the US is just, evil as fuck. We don't think anything good should be a human right. Us building military bases in other nations, that should be a human right. You know what I'm saying? That should be our human right to do that. If we want to invade you and take your resources and oil, that should be our human right. But food? Giving the fucking poors some food? Hell to the no. Now, a lot of people will try to justify this by saying that the United States voted no because they would have to foot most of the bill, right? They would have to pay the most to enforce feeding people and making food a right. And to that I say, good. The United States should foot most of the bill. The United States is the country that benefits the most from the current global world order that keeps the global south impoverished. Since 1960, rich countries, aka the global north, and particularly the United States and Western Europe, have drained $152 trillion from the global south. The main way that we do this is by exploiting the global south's cheaper labor. It's cheaper for us to manufacture and produce things in countries where labor laws are worse, where wages are generally lower, where we can underpay people to make stuff for us and then import it back to the US and sell it at a cheaper price. Like as you can see, recent research demonstrates that rich countries continue to rely on a large net appropriation from the global south, including tens of billions of tons of raw materials and hundreds of billions of hours of human labor power per year, embodied not only in primary commodities, but also in high-tech industrial goods like smartphones, laptops, computer chips, and cars, which over the past few decades have come to be overwhelmingly manufactured in the South. This flow of net appropriation occurs because prices are systemically lower in the South than in the North. For instance, wages paid to Southern workers are on average 1/5 the level of Northern wages. This means that for every unit of embodied labor and resources that the South imports from the North, they have to export many more units to pay for it. Basically, the global South, right, countries who typically are thought of as third world or developing nations, are being mass exploited. And it's the reason that we in the North can eat more than them. It's the reason that we can buy things at a cheaper price than them, right? Like, it's the reason we can get a laptop for 1/5 the price that it may cost a person relatively to their wage in, I don't know, like a country like Peru. And I'm sorry, Peru, if I'm, cooking you. I just had to use you as an example here. So yes, I believe that countries like the US and Western Europe, who by the way voted to make food a human right, despite the fact that they would have to pay a lot of money to enforce it, should pay for enforcing food as a human right and feeding the majority of the world, considering we're extracting the wealth from the majority of the third world and the developing world. Also, I just have to point out, American people would benefit from food being a human right internationally too. Because guess what? You're part of the international community. So food would be a human right for you too, and you wouldn't have to go hungry if you ever do. And it only costs about $40 billion to $90 billion annually to enforce food as a human right and ending world hunger. That is absolutely nothing to the Western world or any developed nation. We spend almost $1 trillion annually on military spending alone in the United States to go bomb impoverished, poor nations. Why can't we spend a fraction of that to feed these nations, which would create international security too, by the way? Nobody is trying to take food from Americans to give to other people. What we simply want to do is ensure that everybody has enough food on their plate. And there's so many more examples of this, like recently the UN voted to strengthen prevention and treatment against mental health diseases and non-communicable diseases. And of course, the US voted against it. In Argentina now, because like I said recently, they've had to absolutely glaze the fuck out of America if they want the lifeline money that we're throwing at them. This is another one of the most egregious examples, right? Year after year, the UN will vote to end the US embargo against Cuba. And of course, year after year, the United States and Israel consistently vote against ending it. Now, this is despite the fact that the embargo has led to real death in Cuba, and it leads to a multitude of issues that pretty much are ingrained in every aspect of Cuban life, right? As you can see here, the embargo has contributed to cause a number of public health problems in Cuba, including one, an epidemic of more than 50,000 cases of optic and peripheral neuropathies, in 1992 through 1993, resulting from dietary deficiency. It also caused an epidemic of, bear with me, I cannot say that word right now, esophageal stenosis, okay, in toddlers who inadvertently drank liquid lye as a result of a soap shortage, which was caused by the embargo, for which liquid lye was substituted. And I looked it up here, and that's basically a narrowing of the esophagus, making swallowing difficult and causing symptoms like pain when swallowing, regurgitation, choking, and weight loss, often due to scarring from acid reflux. And the embargo caused an epidemic of this disease in toddlers because of the shortages that it caused. It also led to outbreaks of self-inflicted disease and injuries caused by rioting among Cubans detained at Guantanamo Bay. And overall, it led to a decline in medical practice standards and public health indicators in Cuba. I would call it a genocidal policy, but I wouldn't go that far to say it's genocidal right now, but it definitely is intended completely to cause harm to Cubans, and it causes death to Cubans as well. These are things that are well documented. These aren't conspiracy theories. This isn't like propaganda. This is just the objective reality. And year after year, the United States and Israel vote to continue this absolutely barbaric and deadly policy against Cuba. And the last one I want to go over with is the UN vote on the right of the Palestinian people to self-determination, which is just insane that we have to vote on this. And of course, the US, Israel, and Argentina, and for some reason Paraguay, Micronesia, and Nauru voted against it. Now, what those other countries have against Palestine, I don't fucking know. I can't even begin to imagine why. Of course, the US and Israel and Argentina, because like I said, that's their third buddy and third glazer. But of course, the US and Israel don't believe that Palestinians are humans. Straight up, they don't believe that Palestinians deserve human rights. They believe that Israel have the right over all land in Palestine. That's why they constantly steal Palestinian land, build settlements on top of their land, illegally occupy them, attempt to ethnically cleanse them, and justify bombing civilian zones, justify bombing hospitals, bombing schools, and overall making life for the people of Gaza a living hell. They don't want them to have self-determination. And it's genuinely just insane, bro. Like I said, the US and Israel are two of the most violent, most barbaric empires in human history. I wanted to go over this last one real quick. Recently, literally a few days ago as I'm recording this video, the United Nations voted to establish an International Day against colonialism in all of its forms. Of course, many of the former colonial nations in Western Europe abstained from the vote, which is really to nobody's surprise, right? Canada also abstained, Australia abstained, the Western developed nations tended to abstain, even South Korea and Japan. But of course, the US and Israel could not help themselves. They couldn't simply vote to just abstain from it and have some Dignity, have some respect. They had to straight up vote against it. No. Some colonialism might be good. Imposing my will over a weaker nation and exploiting their resources and turning them into basically a satellite of mine, that's good, right? Like taking over their society, completely genociding their culture, and sometimes completely genociding their people. That can be okay sometimes. Like, it's just shameless, bro. Have some respect for the world. The US and Israel have absolutely no conscience. They have absolutely no respect for anybody. I'm just gonna end this video with this Kwame Ture quote. In order for nonviolence to work, your opponent must have a conscience. The United States has none. Has none. Thank y'all for watching this video, man. Make sure y'all share this with whoever you can. Put this shit in Hassan Piker's fucking stream link, whatever, so you can watch this shit. I love y'all. Thank you for watching. Like the video and subscribe. And peace.